Good afternoon, everyone. Normally, the sessions after lunch are very tough. So I tried hard to not get this session. I was always fighting with Franchise India that can I get a pre-lunch session? But thanks to Suraj for such an amazing session where he shared a lot of insights in it. So I'm Vikram Nagaich. I head a company called E-DAC Learning Systems. We work in the K-8 segment, and it's a real honor to be here in front of the top education leaders of the country. Also, on a personal note, I got some time out of my wife, who is really better than me, my better half. So while I went to IIT, she got the gold medal from IIT. And imagine a kid of 2 IITians, so he is always smarter than us. So happy to be here, some time off. Yeah? Now, the topic for today is very interesting. That how do we prepare a child for future? And every speaker have shared their insights in how are they trying to bridge the gap between what a child learns today and what kind of skills the child needs to exhibit when he transforms or joins the workforce. And I strongly believe that this discussion would be little incomplete if we don't have a sneak peek in what happens in the classrooms of the country. I'm not talking about the top schools, which have all the facilities. I'm talking about those 80 to 90% of our schools which lack resources in every aspect. So a small video, you would have seen this video before, but unfortunately the reality has not changed in the masses in India. So let's have the video, please. Yeah.
Now, realization of standing of the basic building and calculation of ability of your standing of the right and your ability. Now, realization. Sir. Ability of your standing of the right and your ability. Calculation of ability of your standing.
We'll stop here. So this is what happens in a conventional classroom where conventional teaching is done. Where a child who has so many questions to ask, he doesn't know which question is right or wrong. But the environment which is there stops him from asking questions, stops him from exploring things, which leads to a lot of memorizing and rote learning in a classroom. He just memorizes concept after concept, pages after pages. He attends some unit test, some final examination, and he moves to the next class, and he doesn't remember what he learned in the previous class. While this goes on with the child, which he is unaware of, what it leads to is, can we have the next slide, please? This situation leads to a child who is unlearned. He has not understood a concept, he has just memorized, rote learned. He is not skilled. The problem-solving skill, which is so critical in a success of a human being, is missing. And this is done systematically, month on month, grade on grade, which leads to an underprepared child when he enters the workforce. And then he asks a question to himself and to the society that I gave my 15 years to education. I was sincere. I came to school every day. But after 15 years, the school system, the conventional school system, has left me underprepared, and I still need to learn the skills which will make an impact to my life, to future, and to everything. Now, if this is the situation, how do we deal with it? We can deal with this situation in two ways. First is we let this underprepared child enter the workforce, and then we start training him, upskilling him in the higher education. But while doing that, the impact would be minimal because the foundation which was laid for 15 years was very weak. And no matter what we do, we will only can do a patchwork. We can just change that child a delta. So there is a strong need to change this weak foundation where classroom learning and teaching process has to be impacted directly by us. So what we have witnessed in the last 3.5 years, and I've witnessed in last 9 years in education, majorly in school education, is we need to attack the core, which is that room where 30 kids are sitting and a teacher is teaching. How do we empower that teacher? How do we change the environment of the classroom where a child doesn't fear to ask questions, where a child is given an opportunity to collaborate with others, where a child is given the confidence that even a wrong answer is a right answer, is a good answer. Now, this is what E-DAC has been doing for the last 3.5 years, where we are going to these schools and changing the way the classroom is conducted, those 35 minutes, changing from rote to concept clarity, where the child has real learning. When he says, I've learned friction, he can see friction all around the society. When a maid wipes the floor, he can tell his parents that don't walk on that floor because the friction is reduced and the chances of you slipping is very high. We are trying to change the one dimensional of teaching in the classroom, where a teacher gives a monologue and she kind of expects that every child would understand what she is teaching. But as we all know, every human being, every learner is different. So until and unless there is differential teaching in a classroom, we will always have the situation where the front benchers will give the answers and the back benchers will slowly fade away from doing to the best of their potential. We have to change the informative way of teaching in a classroom where a lot of knowledge is given, a lot of data is given, but how to comprehend that data, how to experience that knowledge and change it into something beautiful. So E-DAC has been doing this for the last 3.5 years. We are pleased to inform all of you that we have witnessed this transformation. It's not only us sitting here who are talking about this skill gap and building the child for the future. We have seen now school leaders, parents, teachers, principals also being aware of this fact that if we don't change this, then we are not doing justice to that child. And in the last 3.5 years, we have been able to work. Currently, we are working with close to 700 plus schools who are learning in the E-DAC way, which is more experiential, more scientific, where the child is involved with the teacher. There is no monologue. There's a healthy discussion which happens. The concepts are not taught through the book, but kids discover the concept while discussing, while doing an activity, and then they define the concept. So in our classrooms, the textbooks are opened in the last 10 minutes, But the first 25 minutes are there when the child and the teacher, they just become one and they kind of explore the concept. So if I have to teach, let's say, noun, conventionally, a teacher would write the definition of noun and will make every child memorize, then few examples, and then few fill in the blanks and questions. But in experiential teaching, it changes to he will point out the objects which he can touch and feel, and then they will play a game, and they will then discover that what is noun. So we have been fortunate to help around 2.5 lakh kids as of now. Close to 15,000 to 20,000 teachers are able to change from rote learning to experiential learning. And the more we do, so when I started this venture, we were very happy when we reached to 50 schools. We thought that we have, won the world and everything, we'll be that unicorn. Then we reached to 200, 300, 400. But the more we went inside the country, more we went to tier 2, tier 3, we realized that there's nothing to be proud of because we have just touched the iceberg, tip of the iceberg. And there's so much to cover, and there are so many kids whom we need to change. There are so many teachers whom we need to empower. I have seen a lot of sessions where we put the entire blame on the teachers. And I was one of them a few years back. I said the problem lies with the teacher. They don't put in the efforts. But when we went deep, then we realized that probably teachers are not at fault. It's us who are not empowering them with right coaching, right tools, right motivation to transform that classroom. And we are proud to say that we are doing our bit in changing the future of the child, impacting that 35 minutes when a child interacts with the teacher. And if that happens, especially in the foundation levels till grade 8, then the child develops an interest for maths, science, or literature or arts. And that is when he gets engaged in what he wants to do, and he does to his potential best. So with this, thank you all. And again, I would want to thank all of you to be here and discussing on such an important topic. It gives us a lot of energy, a lot of motivation to continue our journey. It's tough, but we'll not stop. Thank you, everyone.